What is good, YouTube? It's your boy, the ZD Special, back with another special video for you guys. Wait till you guys see what I got cooking up for you guys today. In this video, we're going to see what Giannis and Wemby could do on the same team starting in the Magic Bird era. If you guys look at the screen now, I've got both of them in this draft class for 1984, and they're both 18, both have pretty high shot tendencies. Everything is going to be catered towards these guys and seeing exactly how much they can win throughout their entire careers. I'm going to do a full career sim for these guys. You guys will probably just get a brief summary towards the end of each season on how the team did on top of their stats. But yeah, Wemby's 18 years old. Obviously, you can't see his ratings and everything, but these are all like rookie ratings, so they're not going to be extremely overpowered in the first season. So as the sim progresses, these two are going to be absolutely unstoppable. At least that's what I expect. I'm going to sim through the rest of this season and see who ends up with the first overall pick. Whoever that is going to end up with two of the most generational talents of the NBA's entire history. So let me go ahead and sim the rest of the season, and we'll find out where these two are going to land. So as is the case in most of these Magic Bird sims, the Lakers end up beating the Celtics in the first year. So let's go ahead and get into the offseason and see exactly what team ends up with the first pick. And this is also pre-lottery odds, I'm pretty sure. So it's probably just going to be two teams that are up for the first pick. And I also know the Clippers own somebody's pick that gets them like a top 3 pick every single time I do one of these simulations. So let's see. Okay, the Bullets and Rockets are tied for the first odds. Let's see who gets it. It's going to be the Rockets. So Wemby and Giannis are both going to be Houston Rockets. All right, here we are at the start of the 1984 draft. So let's go ahead and get into the picks. So the Rockets, I guess we can just take Wemby first. And then, I guess, sorry, Washington Bullets, but you're going to be losing your second overall pick this year. We are going to go ahead and take Giannis Antetokounmpo. So this duo is officially here. Let's go ahead and get into the first season and see what their team looks like. Also, shout out to Trilly to Goat or Trilly to Gamer for all of these amazing draft classes. I'll be using those throughout the majority of this video. If you guys want to leave a like or subscribe on his channel, I'll go ahead and leave the link in my description for this one. Alright, so the biggest thing, no pun intended, that the Rockets are going to have to figure out with this roster is exactly what to do with Ralph Sampson, who is kind of already established as the team center, but now, of course, the team wants to start Giannis and Wemby over him. Rotation's looking like Craig Elo at point guard, Lewis Lloyd at shooting guard, Rodney McRae at small forward, and then, of course, Giannis, the Greek freak, at the 4. Victor Wembanyama at the 5, and then as of right now, Ralph Sampson is probably about one of the best 6 men ever, with Caldwell Jones, Major Jones, a lot of Jones on this team, Alvin Wright the 4th, and Juwan Carter, who I don't believe is a real person. So let's go ahead and start simming, and again, like I said, if Ralph ends up getting traded, I will stop the sim and see where he ends up and what we get in exchange. But let's go ahead and get through this first season and see how a rookie Giannis and Wemby do in the 1980s. One more thing before I get too far into this first season, I just wanted to see how inserting Wemby and Giannis affected the results of the 1984 draft. So MJ ended up on the Spurs, Akeem ended up on the Bulls, Barkley is on the Kings. Let's see who else. John Stockton is a Pacer. Yeah, that's where the major rookies in this draft ended up. So yeah, let's go ahead and get to the end of this first season and see how Giannis and Wemby do. Alright, so not the exact results I was expecting in Season 1. Magic ends up being the MVP. That one I kind of expected. But Akeem wins Rookie of the Year, averaging 19, 10, 0.9 steals, 3 blocks. Sam Bowie is the 6th Man of the Year. Sidney Moncrief, Defensive Player of the Year. Dale Ellis, Most Improved. The Lakers go 70-12. And Sixers Executive of the Year. Okay. The team did not even end up making the playoffs. They ended up being, I think, the worst team in the league. Okay, 3rd worst team in the league, which is not good for the rest of the league, because that means the Rockets are going to end up with most likely a top 3 pick in this next draft. Let's just say this is not the worst draft to have a top 3 pick in. No frozen envelopes in this one, but Karl Malone, Patrick Ewing, and Chris Mullin round out the top 3 projected prospects in this draft. And hopefully they end up trading Ralph Sampson at some point. Alright, so once again, another Celtics-Lakers rematch. Let's go ahead and see who comes out on top. The Lakers go ahead and sweep the Celtics out. Yeah, Magic played absolutely out of his mind in this series. Let's go ahead and get to this next draft and see who the Rockets end up picking up for Wemby and Giannis to play with. Alright, so like I said before, the Rockets are going to have a projected top 3 pick in this draft. So let's go ahead and see where they end up picking. So we have a top 2 pick. So we're most likely going to get either Ewing or Malone for Giannis and Wemby. Let's see. The Suns, they get the 2nd pick, which means we get the 1st overall pick in the 1985 draft. I promise I did not freeze any envelopes in this one. But let's go ahead and see who the Rockets end up drafting. All right, here we go. 1st overall pick in the 1985 draft. Let's see who the Rockets select. They take... Huh? The Knicks still get Ewing, and we draft Spud Webb. 1st overall? Are you kidding me? What are the Rockets doing? That's definitely not going to move the needle for this team, but of course, I expect Giannis and Wemby to do a little bit of that on their own. So, yeah, let's go ahead and see what the team ends up looking like before the start of next season. Real quick, I just have to look at this again. Like, I'm actually in disbelief. Spud Webb, and then Karl Malone, Ewing, and Mullen all right after. What an absolute travesty of a draft pick. Wow. I just had to point that out again because I'm in shock. All right, so here's a look at player progression. Wemby is already up to a 91. Giannis is an 89. It looks like their ages are screwed up, so I'll fix that before next season starts. But Ralph Sampson is still on the team, so what I'll probably end up doing is moving Giannis to the 3 now, so that all 3 of them can start. There's really no sense in keeping Sampson on the bench. But yeah, Rodney McCray is still on the team, Craig Elo, and then the rest of this team, and this guy. Yeah. So I'll make those adjustments. I'll make sure their ages are right, because otherwise they're just going to stay 18 for the rest of this draft. That happens sometimes. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into the next season. All right, so here's what the team's rotation looks like this year. Spud Webb at the point guard, Craig Elo starting at the 2, and then Giannis, Ralph Sampson, and Wemby at the 4 and 5. Bench, Rodney McCray, Lewis Lloyd, Caldwell Jones, Jim Spanarkel. That is a beautiful name. And then Calvin Garrett at the 10 spot. So, yeah, let's go ahead and sim through this season and see how much better the team is now with Spud Webb at point guard. All right, here we are at the end of year 2. Moses Malone is your MVP. Patrick Ewing, Rookie of the Year. No comment on that. Alvin Robertson wins 6th Man of the Year, and Ewing wins Defensive Player of the Year. Wow, it's great. Joey Jakubik? Yeah. Most Improved Player, Billy Cunningham is the Coach of the Year. All right, looking at the All-NBA teams, neither of Giannis or Wemby's on the first team, but it looks like Giannis is on the All-NBA second team this season. And of course, there's only 2 All-NBA teams at this point, so no third teams. Yeah, so he makes second team. And any defensive team? Nope. And we end up as the 4th seed. Let's see what our record was this season. The Rockets went 53 and 29. Looking at the 2 stats, it looks like Giannis, he averaged 20.5, 8.5, 4.6. Wemby just averaged shy of 20 points, 10 boards, 3 assists, and 2.3 steals. Ralph Sampson, now that all 3 of them are starting, has a lot better numbers, averaging 15 and 8.5. And then, yeah, this guy averaged 11 and 8 in his first season in the NBA. So let's go ahead and see. We're playing Jordan in the first round, so I'm definitely going to try and jump into at least one of these games just to see how dominant Wemby and Giannis might be against this team and against Michael Jordan. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into Game 1, which we take. Game 2, we take. Let's go ahead and simcast this one because these are only 5-game series in the first round, at least for, I want to say it's like the first 7-8 years. So let's see. The Spurs looks like they're going to take Game 3. Oh wait, it's a close one. Okay, it did not end up being as close as I wanted it to be. So we lose Game 3. We're still up 2-1 though. Let's go ahead and see Game 4. Are they going to extend this to 5 games? It looks like they might. They're pulling away. Yeah. Okay, so game 5 for all the marbles. All right, and as I sim the rest of the game, the Rockets end up winning by 3. All right, everything should be all fixed up, ready to go. We're playing the 8 seed Suns, who upsetted the Blazers in the first round. So we honestly should be able to go past them. Let's see what happens. We're in the conference finals. Now they're playing the Mavericks. We'll send this game by game and see. We win game 1, lose game 2, lose game 3, lose game 4, win game 5, win game 6. All right, I didn't want to, but we're gonna have to go ahead and simcast game 7 to make sure we make the finals here. All right, and it's a close one starting off. We are down, but we're staying in it, and okay, yep, looks like the Mavericks are gonna take this one. Gotta wait another year to see Wemby and Giannis in the finals. All right, and going into year 3, Giannis and Wemby are both up to 94 overall. All right, here we are at the rotation in year 3. Of course, Spud Webb doesn't progress. Interesting. Craig Elo still at the 2, and then Giannis, Sampson, and Wemby at the 3, 4, and 5. All right, yeah, so the rest of this video is probably not going to look too good for the rest of the league. Giannis wins his first MVP of the sim, and the team ended up going 66-16 this season, so the best record in the league. Let's go ahead and look at Wemby's stats as well. All right, so Wemby averaged 22.9, 9.5, 3.5 assists, only 2.2 blocks. I expect that to go up pretty soon. Sampson averaged 15 and 8, and then Spud Webb actually did average a little bit better stats, 14.7 and 10 assists, so probably throwing lots of lobs to Giannis and Wemby, I would expect. But let's go ahead and see how the playoffs go in the second year. So we are the first seed against the Jazz. We take that series in 3. We sweep the Kings. We beat the Mavericks, and we're in the finals against the Sixers. Let's see if they can take them. Sixers win game 1. We win game 2. Win game 3. They win game 4. We win game 5. And, okay, it's going to game 7. Let's go ahead and jump in. All right, here we go. Game 7. Can the Rockets close this one out and win the first ring of the video for Giannis and Wemby? They are holding a lead, but they lose it here late in the third. And it looks like they're going to give it up. Let's see if they can make this one a close one so we can jump in. And, okay, down 5 with 47 seconds. They got to score at least like 5 points here for me to want to jump in. No, I think this one's over. Oh. Yep, okay. So the Rockets can't win this one in year 3, but Giannis does win his first MVP of the video. I'm sure they have plenty more years of contending, so I'm not too worried. But let's go ahead and get into year 4. All right, and as we enter year 4, Giannis and Wemby are now both up to 96 overall. All right, here's the rotation starting in year 4. That guy at the 1, Rick Carlisle at the 2, and then Giannis, Sampson, and Wemby still at the 3. Giannis has jumped up to a 97 overall as the season started. So let's go ahead and see how this team ends up in year 4. All right, and there it is. Back-to-back MVPs for Giannis, averaging 27, 11, and 5. Really good defensive stats as well, with 1.5 steals, 1.8 blocks. David Robinson, Rookie of the Year. Hot Rod Williams, Defensive Player of the Year goes to Akeem. Karl Malone, Most Improved. And looking at the All-NBA teams, Giannis is first team. Still no other Rockets there with him. Let's go ahead and see how we do against Jordan once again in the first round. And we win in 4. We're playing the Warriors now. Let's see. We win 3 in a row, and we're on to the conference finals. And now we're playing Dallas. Let's see if we can beat them this year. Nope, they're up 2-0, up 3-0. And, okay, we take game 4, and they lose in 5. So no shot of back-to-back finals appearances for us. And it looks like the Mavericks are going to win the NBA Finals against the Sixers. All right, so looking at player progression, it looks like we lost a pretty good chunk of our team as Sampson is gone, but Giannis and Wemby are now both up to a 97 overall. All right, so I did make some slight alterations to the rotation because the Rockets did not sign a singular marquee free agent this offseason. So Giannis is back at the 4 alongside Wemby, and they're both going to be playing 40 minutes a game. I expect this team to do pretty bad, which is not good for the rest of the league because that means they might end up with another top draft pick. So let's go ahead and sim to the end of this season and see how they both do in year 5. Alright, I'm not gonna lie, this season started out pretty grim, But then I actually started paying attention because I expected us to just lose a lot with how, I guess, bad the rest of the team is. But right now, the Rockets are on a 30-game winning streak. They're trying to go for that #1 seed, but right now they are still stuck at #3. I think that's because of divisions. So, yeah, I just wanted to highlight that because, holy cow, these two are absolutely dominating. Let's take a quick look at their stats before the season ends. Giannis is averaging 30, 12, and 5. Wemby's averaging 28, 12, and almost 3 blocks. So these two are absolutely carrying. They were just itching for Ralph Sampson to get off the team. So let's go ahead and see how this team finishes this season. All right, yeah, so they ended up winning 31 straight games. They won one more and then lost the game after that. But Giannis wins the MVP, averaging 30.5, 11.6, 5.3 assists. Man, he has gone absolutely crazy so far in this sim. No other awards for our guys. But Wemby finally makes, I think that's his first All-NBA team. Let me double check. Yeah, that is his first All-NBA team, and he makes second team All-Defense as well. But he ended up averaging 28, 12, 3.3 assists, 2.6 blocks. So these two are absolutely dominating, but now it's time for them to win a championship. So let's go ahead and see what they do here in the playoffs. We are the 3rd seed against the Nuggets, and okay, we get past round 1. Let's see if we can get past round 2. We do. We're playing the Mavericks once again, and we beat them, and we're playing the Knicks against Patrick Ewing, in my opinion, the man that should have been on this team in the 1985 draft. But let's go ahead and see if we can take them down. We do win game 1. We win game 2. They win game 3. They win game 4. We win game 5. And we win game 6. First ring of the video for Giannis and Wemby. And Giannis is your finals MVP, averaging 29.7, 11.2 rebounds, and 5.3 assists. 2.3 steals and 3.2 blocks. Holy cow, did he fill the box sheet up. Oh my gosh. And then let's see what Wemby ended up averaging for the playoffs. He averaged 26, 11, 2.4. Spud Webb. Wow. That guy actually ended up being pretty solid for this team. I was kind of hating on the pick at the time, but he has been a solid point guard for these two guys. And then looking at the final stats... yeah, of course, Giannis already read his stat line. Wemby averaged 25, 11, 3.5 blocks. I don't think this is a good sign for the rest of the NBA because these two are on their way to dominating the rest of the sim. All right, so it looks like once again the Rockets signed pretty much no free agents, but Wemby is up to a 98 overall. Giannis stays at a 97. So let's go ahead and get into, I think, what is this going to be? Year 6, and see if the Rockets can repeat as champions. All right, yeah, like I mentioned just a second ago, this team is for the birds. It's pretty much Giannis and Wemby and then a bunch of scrubs. Of course, Spud. Okay, I'll give a little bit of respect to Spud Webb. He did step it up a lot last year, but everyone else on this team is pretty much irrelevant. So let's go ahead and see with these two as the focal point of the offense and I guess the defense too, how this team does this season. All right, so not quite as great of a season as they had last year, but they did finish 58 and 24. No MVP for Giannis this year, and no other awards for anybody. No All-NBA first team and All-NBA second team for Giannis. We ended up as the 3rd seed, like I said, 58 and 24. All right, so somehow, even though the team didn't improve at all, these two stats both went down across the board. Wemby averaged 24.2, leading the team in scoring, 11.7 rebounds, 3.3 assists. Giannis averaged 23.7 points, almost a 7-point drop-off from last season, with 11.2 boards and 5 assists. All right, let's go ahead and get into the playoffs here. Let's go ahead and sim round 1. We should be able to move past them, just no problem. And we're playing the Lakers now in round 2. They are somehow the 2nd seed, but we came back 3-1 on them. I didn't even stop that one. I just had faith that we were going to take them out. We have the Bullets and the Bucks waiting for us on the other side, but the Mavericks have been in our way pretty much every year in the conference finals. Let's go ahead and see if we can move past them. We win game 3, win game 4, and we're back in the finals with this absolutely atrocious team around Giannis and Wemby, but those two are just carrying the load. Let's go ahead and see before we start the finals what those two are averaging. Not much different numbers, honestly. Giannis averaging pretty much 25, 10 boards, 5 assists. Wemby up to 24.4, 12 boards, 3 assists, and only 1.8 blocks. But let's go ahead and get into the finals, where we'll be playing really nobody, man. Like this should be another easy win for them. Let's see, game 1 we take, game 2 they take, game 3 we take, game 4 we take, and they take game 5, they take game 6. Yeah, let's go ahead and see if they can take this one and go back-to-back in the finals. All right, early lead, then we lose it. All right, they're fighting. It's a close game. All right, we're taking a lead. All right, we're up 1 with 50 seconds left. I'm going to go ahead and jump into this one and see if Giannis and Wemby can close out this second championship. Dude, I'm going to lose my mind if I don't remember to move this face cam one more time. Okay, the score was 115 to 113. You guys saw it before I jumped in. They didn't score. We have the ball up to 4 seconds left. So no harm, no foul, but now it's moved. So let's go ahead and get back into it. Spud Webb at the line with a chance to ice the game. He misses the first one. Okay, I'm honestly not too worried about that. The only three-point shooter they really have is Jeff Malone. As long as you hit this one, I'm not going to hold anything against you. He hits it. Okay, so they pretty much have to chuck a full court shot in order to tie this game. And they're going to give it to some random guy. And he bricks it. And the Rockets are now back-to-back champions. As you can see on the scoreboard, it's now visible. We win by 3, and this series is over. Giannis, once again, back-to-back finals MVPs for, I think he's won 3 MVPs now. But yeah, like I said, 2 rings already for these guys, and they're not even, I don't even think they're 25 years old. So, not looking good for the rest of the league, like I said. Let's go ahead and get into the next season and see if they can potentially give them a better team around the two. Alright, so once again, no relevant signings for the rest of the team, but Wemby and Giannis are 98 and 97 overall still going into year 7 of the sim. Alright, so here we are once again with the rotations for this season. Giannis and Wemby both in a 98 overall, and then the rest of the team is looking pretty garbage. Again, aside from Spud Webb, we'll show them a little bit of love. But yeah, let's go ahead and see what they can do with some pennies and hopefully turn into a few dollars. Alright, so we finished as the first overall seed in the league. Wemby is your MVP, averaging 30, 14.4, 4 assists, 1.3 steals, 2.4 blocks. These two are just absolutely filling up the stat sheet so far. No defensive player of the year yet for Wemby, as Akeem wins yet another one of those. Alright, so we're playing the Spurs in the first round, who of course have Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Let's see if we can take them out. We're just going to go ahead and sim past this round. We go ahead and sweep them. Let's see if we can sweep the Lakers as well. We lose in the second round. I kind of just simmed through that one thinking we were going to breeze past them, but no way. I thought this was going to be a three-peat for this team, but of course, not going to happen this season. Let's go ahead and see who ends up winning the finals. It's going to be the Heat versus the Mavericks about 20 years early, and the Mavericks win in 6, just like in real life in 2011. Arvydas Sabonis is your finals MVP. Alright, so the Rockets finally figure something out in free agency. We pick up Reggie Lewis to put alongside Wemby and Giannis. They did re-sign Spud Webb as well. So a little bit of a better rotation going into year 8. So let's go ahead and see what this team does. Alright, and real quickly looking at player progression, Wemby does go down 1 point to a 97, but Giannis is still a 97. These two are still going to average some crazy stats. So without further ado, let's go ahead and see how they finish this coming season. Alright, here's a quick look at the rotation for this coming season. Spud Webb at the 1, Reggie Lewis at the 2, Marcus Liberty at the 3, and then Giannis and Wemby closing out the starting lineup at the 4 and 5. Alright, it looks like adding Reggie Lewis is what's going to put this team over the top, as we finished 72 and 10, setting the all-time wins record a little bit early in this sim. But Giannis is your MVP. He averaged 24.9, 10.8 boards, 5.9 assists, 1.4 steals, 1.6 blocks. And Akeem wins another Defensive Player of the Year. I'm really hoping to see Wemby there at least once, but Akeem in these sims is usually pretty dominant on that end. Giannis makes All-NBA first team, and we do have the third team now. Wemby makes that. He averaged 23.6, 10.4, and only 2.1 blocks. That's probably what's stopping him from making it, honestly, is he just can't average as much blocks as Akeem can. But then looking at the standings, we are playing the Nuggets in the first round. The rest of the team, I'm going to guess, probably didn't do too well. So Reggie Lewis, yeah, he ended up averaging 23.5 points. Spud Webb averaged 15 and 11, and then the rest of the team was pretty trash. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into the playoffs. Let's hopefully get past round 1, and we do. We're playing the MJ in the second round. We sweep him. We're playing the Mavericks. We beat them in 5, and now we're playing the Heat. Let's see, game 1 we take, game 2 we take. We lose game 3, we win game 4, and just like that, another championship in the book for Wemby and Giannis. as Giannis is the Finals MVP. He averaged 20.4, 9.4, and 5 assists. So not the best stats, but obviously the best result for the season. Another championship for the Rockets. All right, so far in the sim, Giannis is averaging 24.6 points, 10.3 boards, 5.1 assists, 1.4 steals, and 1.5 blocks. And Wemby so far is averaging 23.5 points, 10.9 boards, 3.4 assists, 1 steal, and 2.4 blocks. And in regards to hardware, we've won 3 championships. Giannis has 4 MVPs, 3 Finals MVPs, and has made the All-Star game 7 times, and has so far made the All-NBA team 7 times as well. 5 first team, 2 second team. Wemby so far, of course, has also won 3 championships. He has 1 MVP, 7 All-Stars, and then it looks like 4 All-NBA appearances with 2 first team and then 2 third team, and 3 second team All-Defense. All right, and heading into year 9 of the sim, Giannis and Wemby are both holding steady at 97 overall. All right, before I go ahead and sim through this regular season, here's a quick look at the rotations. All right, so we closed the season with a 64-18 record, and Wemby is your MVP. He averaged 28.7, 12.3 rebounds, 3.3 assists, 1.1 steals, and 2.6 blocks. And of course, Giannis and Wemby this season both finished on the first team All-NBA. Giannis averaged 24.8, 11.5 boards, 5.9 assists, 1.4 steals, and 1.7 blocks. All right, let's go ahead and get into the playoffs. Let's just go ahead and sim past round 1. Should be an easy dub. We sweep the Nuggets in 3. Now we're playing the Warriors. We beat them in 6. Now we're playing the Lakers. I'm not sure. Do they still have Magic? They do. Okay, so yeah, it's Magic, Byron Scott, Willie Anderson, James Worthy, and John Konchak. So let's go ahead and see if we can beat them. We lose game 1. We win game 2. We lose game 3. Win game 4. Win game 5. And we're back in the finals, and we will be playing the Heat. Let's go ahead and see how this series goes. We take game 1, take game 2, take game 3, and we lose game 4, and we win game 5, and another championship for Wemby and Giannis as Wemby wins Finals MVP, averaging 29.8, 12.4 boards, 3.2 assists, 1 steal, and 2.2 blocks. Absolutely monster numbers. And Giannis in the finals averaged 24.6 points, 10.8 boards, 6.4 assists, 1.2 steals, and also averaged 2 blocks. Alright, and as you can see, no major changes to the lineup for this season. So let's go ahead and get to the end of Season 10 and find out how this team finishes. But through 11 seasons, the Rockets have already won 5 championships. Alright, so the Rockets finished 67-15 this season, and Wemby wins back-to-back MVPs, averaging 29 points, 14 boards, 4 assists, 1.3 steals, 2.7 blocks. Possibly defensive player? Nope, it's still a game. He averaged 3.7 blocks. The All-NBA teams, Giannis is on the first team with Wemby. He ended up averaging 25, 12, and 5 with 1.7 steals and 1.9 blocks. All right, now looking at the playoff bracket, we are playing the Blazers in the first round. Should be an easy sweep. We beat them in 3. We're playing the Suns, beat them in 4. Playing the Warriors, beat them in 5. And now we're playing the Hornets, but what I forgot to tell you guys is that this team now has Michael Jordan. He left the Spurs a couple of seasons ago, and now he's in the East on the Hornets. So let's see if we can take him out. All right, here we go. Game 1, we win. Game 2 is a dub. Game 3 is a dub. And Game 4 is a dub. We go and sweep MJ out of the finals. Wemby averages 35, 15, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 3.5 blocks to win the Finals MVP. Giannis has won 4 MVPs, 3 Finals MVPs, and is already 9-time All-NBA. Wemby so far has 3 of his own MVPs, 2 Finals MVPs, and he's made the All-NBA team 6 times. Alright, looking at the rotation for Season 12, Reggie Lewis is still on the team with Wemby and Giannis, but it looks like we couldn't sign Blaylock back to a contract, so it's pretty much just going to be those 3 carrying the load again. Let's go ahead and see how we finish this season. Alright, so Wemby has now won 4 of the last 5 MVPs. This year he averaged 25.6 points, almost 14 boards, 4 assists, 1.3 steals, 2.5 blocks. I'm going to guess that Hakeem is still defensive player, and he is. So no other major awards there. They do both make All-NBA first team. So let's go ahead and get into the playoff bracket and see who we can take down this year. Alright, we are playing the Golden State Warriors in the first round. We get past them in 4. Okay, ooh, that was close. Let's see if we can take them down in 6. We do. Now we're playing the 7 seed Mavericks. The Pistons and the Bullets are on the other side of the East. We take out the Mavericks in 4, and I think this one's going to be a pretty easy series as well. And, yep, we go and sweep the Bullets. That makes ring number 6 for the video. Wemby had a amazing finals. He averaged 26.7, 18 boards, 4 assists, 1 steal, 2.3 blocks. Shot 71% from 3, so maybe he only shot like 7 and made 5, but still absolutely dominant numbers for him and the rest of this team. Let's go ahead and see what Giannis did. He averaged only 22, 11, and 6 for the playoffs. I say only, like that's not like amazing numbers for any other player. And then looking at the regular season, yeah, Giannis averaged 24, 12, and 6. So this team is just absolutely being carried on the backs of Giannis and Wemby so far. 6 rings is kind of crazy. They pretty much won every other season to this point. All right, so the only signing they made this offseason was bringing Reggie Lewis back. Giannis and Wemby, of course, still on the team, and the rest of the team is pretty much nobody. So we'll see if they can yet again win another championship with pretty much just 3 players. All right, it hasn't mattered too much to this point, but the team is pretty much just Giannis and Wemby. We do have Reggie Lewis still, but the rest of the rotation is literally 74 under overall. So let's go ahead and see what they can do with this scrap of a team. All right, so the team finished 6th in the conference this year. Like I said, this team was pretty much just nothing but scraps and bags of chips. Weber wins the MVP this season. He averaged 26, 11, and 5. No defensive player for Wemby this season. How many defensive players has Akeem won so far? He's won 10 Defensive Player of the Years and pretty much 10 consecutive straight. So I don't think Wemby has a chance of catching up to him in that regard. We are the 6th seed, like I said. We're playing the Kings. All right, and the Kings have Barkley on their team now and Len Bias, so a pretty solid 3 and 4. But we do have Wemby and Giannis. Let's see if we can take them down in the first round. I'm not too hopeful with how good the rest of the team is. Let's just go ahead and sim it. And okay, yep, we get first rounded for the first time in what feels like forever. So hopefully the team can actually make some signings this offseason. I don't know what their deal is with not signing any free agents. But let's go ahead and see what they do in the offseason. All right, I don't think I would be able to handle this team just losing the rest of the sim. So instead of just letting the GM not sign anybody the rest of this simulation, I went ahead and signed a few guys, picked up Rex Chapman, Robert Horry, AC Green, Olden Polynice, and Avery Johnson. So hopefully these signings can help us get back into the finals. All right, so Giannis and Wemby are both 30 years old now, and they're both still 96 overall. Well, I should say Giannis went down 1. Wemby's still a 96. But again, with the signings I made, I'm hoping that this team can remain competitive and hopefully win a few more titles before this thing is all said and done. All right, so the new rotation after those signings, we got Michael Hawkins at point guard, only a 72 overall. But we got Rex Chapman, John Wallace, Giannis and Wemby at the 4 and 5. Reggie Lewis now coming off the bench. AC Green, Robert Horry, and Olden Polynice. Let's go ahead and see if this team can get back to 60-plus wins. Okay, so the team did not finish with 60-plus wins, but we did finish as the 1st seed in the West. Giannis and Wemby, neither of them won MVP. That goes to Akeem this season, and he also wins Defensive Player of the Year. Looking at the All-NBA teams, Giannis was 1st team. Wemby ended up being 3rd team, and we are taking on the Kings in the 1st round. I'm going to go ahead and sim past this and hope we can just go ahead and sweep. So let's go ahead and see what happens here. Okay, we do win in 5. 2nd round, we win in 5. And the conference finals, we win in 5. We're playing the Bulls in the finals, and that's going to mean we're playing Akeem Olajuwon finally in the championship round. Let's go ahead and see if we can take him down. We lose game 1. We win game 2. Win game 3. Win game 4. And lose game 5. Game 6, we go ahead and take. Finally back in the title and finally winning another championship. That's the 7th of the video. Wemby wins finals MVP. Let's go ahead and get into the next season and see if we can repeat the same thing. All right, quick look at player progression. Giannis and Wemby are both still 96 overall, so no worries there quite yet. All right, another quick look at the rotation before we start this season. They ended up signing a couple people, so thankfully, I don't know why they weren't, but we are starting to pick up some free agents. Steve Henson at the point guard, Rex Chapman at the 2, John Wall is back starting at the 3, Giannis and Wemby at the 4 and 5, and then Reggie Lewis and Ori coming off the bench with AC Green and Todd Day. All right, so we finished this season 69-13. Wemby is once again the league's MVP. He averaged about 25, 13, 4.5, 1.1 steals, 2.6 blocks, and still no Defensive Player of the Year. Akeem is going to set an absolutely absurd record with this. What does he have now? He has 12 straight Defensive Player of the Years. That is insane. I can't believe Wemby couldn't take just one off of him. But like I said, we were the first seed. Both our guys make the first team All-NBA. And defensive team, Giannis makes first team. Wemby doesn't even make second team. That's kind of crazy. But we're playing the Nuggets first round. Let's see what we can do there. We take them out in 5. And then we lose in the second round to the Jazz. Dang. So no championship this season. But I believe, if I am correct, we should have 7. Yeah, we have 7 so far. And they probably still have at least a couple more good years before they start really regressing. So let's just go ahead and get into the next season and see how we finish. Okay, so looking at player progression, we are starting to see a little bit of a fall off with Wemby down to a 95 and Giannis at a 96. I would say probably at least a couple more seasons with these guys dominating the league, and then we'll probably start to see them actually start to fall off. All right, rotation for this season, we got Chris Garner at point guard, Rex Chapman still at shooting guard, John Wallace at the small forward, Giannis and Wemby at the 4 and 5, Reggie Lewis, Robert Ory, Mark Price, and Todd Day off the bench. So probably one of the better teams we've had overall depth-wise. So let's go ahead and see what they can finish this season. All right, we finished as the 2nd seed in the West, and Giannis wins his first MVP in quite some time. Yeah, it's been about 7 seasons since he won his last MVP, but he averages 25, almost 13, 6.7 assists, 1.5 steals, 1.6 blocks. And Akeem still just racking up those Defensive Player of the Years. I'm pretty much just going to give up hope on that one for Wemby. Giannis finishes the first team. Wemby gets the second team. And looking at the playoff bracket, we are playing the Spurs. Let's go ahead and get them out of here real quick. Let's go ahead and get the Mavericks out of here. Just kidding. We're going to go ahead and lose in the second round. God, I got way too confident on that one. All right, heading into next season, Giannis is still a 96, Wemby is still a 95, and they did sign Scottie Pippen in the offseason. Everyone else is pretty much the same. Mark Price is down to a 72, holy. But yeah, with Scottie on the team, that actually should help a lot with keeping this team competitive for the next few seasons. So, all right, with Scottie on the team, here's a quick look at the new rotations for this season. Okay, as this season comes to a close, no MVP or DPOY for Giannis or Wemby. Shaq wins the MVP. David Robinson wins Defensive Player of the Year. We did finish as the 2nd seed, and looking at the All-NBA teams, they both made second team, so actually starting to see some regression now between the two. Let's go ahead and get into the playoffs. We are playing the Vancouver Grizzlies, I think for another season or 2 at least, they'll be there. So let's go ahead and sim past this round C. We beat them in 3. We beat the Kings in 4. Now we're playing the Shaq-led Sonics in the conference finals. Let's see, we lose in a reverse sweep. We were up 3-0, and then they come back and win the series. Man, this team might be done. I'm not quite sure yet. Maybe we'll give this till next season to determine that. But let's go ahead and get into the next season and hopefully get back into the finals. Okay, heading into next season, no changes in either Giannis or Wemby's overall, but the team did pick up Steve Smith in the offseason. Scottie Pippen has gone down to an 85. So I would say Steve Smith being added to the team will definitely help a little bit, but who knows? We might start to see Giannis and Wemby truly fall off this season. All right, so no different results in terms of MVP or Defensive Player of the Year this season. Shaq wins his 2nd MVP, also wins Defensive Player of the Year. No first team for either Giannis or Wemby. 2nd team for Wemby, 3rd team for Giannis. Let's see, Giannis, he averaged 22, 12, and 6.5. Wemby, he had some incredible numbers though. He averaged 28 and 13. They're both 35 now. I would guess maybe only like 3 more seasons for these guys. But let's go ahead and take a look at the playoff bracket. We were the 1st seed, and what was our record? We went 53 and 29. I'm not really sure how Shaq won the MVP as the 6th seed, but I digress. Let's go ahead and see if we can get to the finals this season. First round, we take out the Suns in 3. Second round, we beat the Jazz in 4. And we're playing the Lakers in the conference finals. I'll go game by game this time, just in case we somehow blow another series. We're up to 1. Let's see, 3-1. And we're back in the finals. We're playing the Cavs. Let's see if we can get another ring here. Oh, ow. And I hit Simcast Live. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at game 2 here. Alright, we're taking an early lead. Alright, we blow them out in game 2. So we are up 2-0. Alright, game 3, they take. Game 4, we win. And, okay. Oh, I can Simcast this one. Why not? Let's see if we can close them out in 5, hopefully. I don't really trust this against a Tim Duncan-led team at this stage of their careers. But we take it, win 93-89, and another championship. Giannis wins Finals MVP, 23.8, 11.6, and 6.4 assists, with some nice defensive stats as well. I think that brings us to, I think, 8 championships? Let me just double check. Yeah, 8 championships. All throughout the 90s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s. I don't know if any team has ever done that with the same group of guys. But, alright, we get another championship. That's huge. Let's go ahead and get into this next season and see if we can do the same thing. Alright, so heading into next season, no true signs of regression for either Giannis or Wemby. Still both the same overalls, but the rest of the team is definitely aging out. Scotty's down to an 83. Steve's missing an 82. Looks like we picked up Anthony Carter. He's a 78. Kendall Gill is a 77. So yeah, the team is actually pretty deep, but we just have a lot of old guys on the bench. So let's go ahead and get into this next season's playoffs and see where we're at. Alright, here's a quick snapshot of the rotation going into this season. Alright, so this season we do once again finish as the first seed in the West, but still no MVPs for Giannis or Wemby. Chris Webber takes the MVP this year, and Shaq wins another Defensive Player of the Year. Let's look at the All-NBA teams real quick. And I don't see either of them on any All-NBA teams, so I'll have to take a look at their averages real quick and see how they did. Alright, yeah, I think that the time has come for Wemby and Giannis to close their careers, as Wemby only averaged 22, 11, and 3. Giannis only averaging 18.5, 10.5, and 5. Let me see if they're both talking about retirement. Not yet for Giannis. Same thing for Wemby, so they might still have a few seasons. But, yeah, let's go ahead and get into the playoffs. We're playing the Grizzlies once again. Let's go ahead and see if we can take them out. And they beat us in 4. So, I'm not sure what next season's going to bring, but probably not anything better than this. Alright, so slowly but surely they are both starting to go down. Giannis is down to a 94, as well as Wemby. The rest of the team is like 100 years old. So, let's go ahead and get into next season and see if we can get lucky and get back into the finals. Alright, here's another quick look at the rotations before we get into this season. Alright, at this stage, I think it's pretty safe to say that neither of Giannis or Wemby are going to win any more MVPs. But Giannis finally pulls out a Defensive Player of the Year, I think in like the 16th or 17th season of this sim. So, nice to see that, but I'm not quite sure how well this team is going to do in the playoffs. I believe we finished as the 6th seed. Wemby finished on the All-NBA first team, so he had a random resurgent season. Yeah, really nice stats from him. No Giannis on All-NBA, but of course he was All-Defensive First Team as the DPOY. Yeah, okay, so yeah, we finished as the 6th seed. We're playing the Lakers in the first round. So let's go ahead and see what we can do and potentially move past them. Alright, yep, we're up to 7-game series in the first round. We do advance. We're playing the Nuggets. I'm not quite sure who they have on their team. Okay, they have Steve Nash, Pau Gasol, Manu, Tony Kukoc, Danielle Marshall. Pretty solid team. I would say definitely better than our team, but we will see. Keeping it a close series. We're up 2-1, tie 2-2. They're up 3-2, and they do knock us out in the second round. Let's go ahead and take a look at Giannis and Wemby's overall stats for the season. So this is for the. Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, okay, no, this is playoff stats. Wemby averaged 26 and 14. Giannis averaged 24 and 13. The rest of the team was pretty garbage. So unless the team makes some signings this offseason, I'm not really even sure this team is going to make the playoffs anymore. But let's go ahead and get into the next one and see. Alright, and here's the rotation for this season, as both Giannis and Wemby are down to 92 overalls. Alright, so this season we finished 46 and 36, no awards for Giannis or Wemby. All NBA teams. Wemby is still on the first team. His stats really haven't gone down too much aside from this random season in 2002. And Giannis is on the third team. His stats go right back up to 22, 11, and 5. The defensive teams. Either of them make it. Nope. And we finished as the 5th seed. We're playing the Kings in the first round. Let's take a look at the rest of the team stats, because I'm pretty sure that they were not doing so well. Yeah, our next highest scorer averaged 12 points a game. This team is in the mud. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into the playoffs. Let's go ahead and sim past round 1 and see. We beat the Kings in 5 as the 5th seed. Now we're playing the 8th seed Blazers. So we have a legitimate shot to make the conference finals, and we do. We're playing the Supersonics. Man, okay, we actually might make the finals in year like 19. And they're up 2-1. Tie series 3-2, and we do advance. We're playing the Cavs once again. Tim Duncan on the other side. Let's see if we can take them down. We're 2-2, 3-2, game 7. You know I gotta jump into this one. Let's go ahead and see what happens. All right, we're holding a lead to start the game, and we're actually expanding on that lead. Wow, I was not expecting that. Wemby and Giannis win another title. And let's see who wins Finals MVP. Wemby takes this one, 29, 11, and 2, 1.3 steals, 3.4 blocks. These two are just absolutely dominating, and it's just like their almost 20th season. Yeah, I definitely wrote this team off, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, they might have a couple more in them. Let's go ahead and see what next season brings. And as soon as I say that, Wemby has decided to call it a career. Let's go ahead and take a look at his stats before he goes off into the sunset. So he finished his career with 40,935 points, over 20,000 rebounds, 6,000 assists, over 4,000 blocks. I'm going to check the all-time rankings because he might have actually finished as the all-time leading scorer above Kareem. Let me make sure Giannis didn't retire too, because I didn't see him at the top. And okay, it looks like Giannis is going to play at least one more season. So I guess we'll see what happens with him, but I'm going to say this team is probably done without Wemby. Alright, so as I expected, Wemby is the #1 scorer all time, but right behind him is Giannis at number 2. He's just over 2,300 points behind him, so I don't think he can catch Wemby. But let's take a look at their other stats. So they're also the top in field goals made, obviously not three-pointers. Wemby has the most free throws made of all time, 9,600. Giannis is at just over 8,000. Rebounds, they're 3rd and 4th all time. Let's see, assists. Giannis should be up there a little bit. Yeah, he's at 9,000, top 10. Blocks, Wemby is the #1 shot blocker of all time with just over 4,000. Steals, Giannis is up there in the top 5. They both obviously have the most minutes of all time. And turnovers, Giannis is 3rd, Wemby is 8th. So yeah, these two, like I said, have been on an absolute tear for this entire sim. So he finished with 9 championships, 5 MVPs, 5 Finals MVPs, 19-time All-Star, 12-time All-NBA. He probably made a couple third teams, and of course, he did not win a single Defensive Player of the Year, if you can believe that. So yeah, I guess let's just go ahead and get into this potentially last season and see what Giannis can do to carry this Rockets team. Alright, so as of right now, Giannis is down to a 90 overall, and he doesn't even seem to want to retire yet, so I guess we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, this is the rest of the team. The next best player now is an 84 overall, and then it's pretty downhill from there. So let's go ahead and see what this last season brings for Giannis. Alright, so surprisingly, Giannis actually dragged this team to the playoffs as the 6th seed. Taking a look at his stats for the season, he only averaged 22 points, 9 boards, 4.5 assists, so obviously still leading the team in pretty much every category except for assists. But yeah, I don't think he plans on retiring either. When I last looked at his player card, he was talking about taking an extension, but now it looks like he is ready to retire. So this is the last ride for Giannis. Let's see if he can potentially bring a 10th championship to Houston. Round 1, game 1, we lose. Game 2, we lose. Game 3, we lose. We take game 4, and we lose in 5. And I will get past this to just confirm that Giannis is ready to retire. We'll see who wins the championship this season. And it's going to be the Hornets. That's Jerry Stackhouse, Finals MVP. But let's go ahead and see if Giannis is calling it a career, and he is. We'll take a look at his final stats for the sim. So he ended up obviously with 9 championships, 5 MVPs on his own, 4 Finals MVPs, 20-time All-Star, and a bunch of All-NBA teams. And we already kind of looked at his all-time rankings in terms of points, rebounds, all that stuff. And that's going to bring an end to this video. If you guys liked the video, please make sure you subscribe, like the video, leave a comment on what you guys want to see next, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.